Good afternoon. This is John Presco. I've been reading about the Greek gods, the Greek classics, and I keep going back to them now and then. I haven't in a while. And I have so much problems with names. It's embarrassing. Even when I'm writing, I have trouble with these names. I'll stop rocking back in my chair. I'm nervous. I just offered Royal Rosement Press to 5 women. I'm going, what is that? Even women that hate me or try to destroy me. Well, this is the Maenades, the followers and worshippers of Dionysus, who were the raving ones, the mad ones. And they would get drunk on wine and go about the countryside attacking living animals and eating them raw. Dionysus ate a bull raw, and some theologians and some people who study Greek theology, or Greek cults, or Greek legends. I don't even know what their name would be right now. I'm not an expert in this field. I just don't have time to be an expert in any field, probably, because I have such a vast interest. In writing my blog, I'm sometimes a poet, sometimes an artist, sometimes a writer, sometimes a theologian, sometimes a madman, sometimes Greek mythographer, playwright, maybe, movie script writer. And I keep going back and forth, whatever keeps coming up, because I'm not here to impart impeccable logic and reason for the benefit of who? El Lardo downstairs, or my critics, or, this is not what I can do, having so many areas that I'm interested in. Architecture is another of my interests. So there's a theory that Jesus and Dionysus have been commingled in the Catholic Church and religion, where you're offered a communion of wine with flesh. Eat of my flesh, the wafer. Take this, for this is my flesh. Drink this, for this is my wine. And when I went back to the church to finish my communion 15, 16 years ago, I didn't drink the wine, but I took the wafer. Probably should have done that. That's a whole other, see, there you go. I'm very interested in these religions. I have religious people, heads of church in my background. But, see, the truth is, I've been pretending to who, I don't know, that this painting I started of Rena Easton Christensen was going to be a study for, she was going to be Fair Rosamond, who was put in the labyrinth by King Henry II, Plantagenet. and he from whom the Plantagenets came and wore the roses. But it's really Helen of Troy. I've always seen Rena as Helen of Troy. This whole thing I've been going through is the judgment of Paris. All my life I've been in a position to judge who is the most beautiful woman in the world, beginning with my mother Rosemary and her sister Aunt Lillian, a flower name, and Rosemary, a rose name. When my daughter was lured away from me, or kidnapped in a Helen of Troy type of thing, she got pregnant, and she was going to name the child. She wanted a daughter, Lily Rose. See, this is the unforgivable trespass, because my daughter was unborning me. She wasn't going to tell me that she was going to give birth to a child. She was not going to tell me when she gave birth to a child. And she would name this child after my mother and her sister. It's quite a usurpation. She wanted to go back to being an immaculate conception that her mother raised her as. And Dionysus is called the twice born. His mother was pursued by another goddess who was jealous of her, and she was slain, and Zeus cut the Dionysus out of the belly of his dead mother, and cut his leg open and inserted it into his thigh, and gave birth to Dionysus when he became 9 months old. So he's twice born of a womb and born of the thigh of a father. And I'm really right in the middle of this via my daughter and many other things that have gone on, that are going on, including the burning of the Amazon forest, which is really calling for a rebirth of Helen of Troy. Right now the world there needs a powerful woman, a goddess, Eve, to save the planet, because this really looks like doomsday with the burning of the Amazon forest. And in following the etymology, the birth of Dionysus, who's the sister, who's the brother of Helen of Troy, we may not have the drama to get the job done. We may not have the sense of urgency, the sense of commitment, the sense of, this is it. The Dionysus stage is burning down. There's going to be no more plays, no more poems, no more movies, no more TV, no more HBO, no more of this. Anything that looks like a stage in which we communicate to each other on is going to die. It's dying. If this can't save the Amazon rainforest, this torch, this electrical sun, St. Elmo's fire device, can't save the Amazon forest, then we're cooked. literally cooked. That rainforest will fail to produce water. Rivers will dry up. The rest of the Amazon forest will burn down. We would lose 20% of our oxygen. The planet would heat up. It'd be very hard for us to breathe. And why can't those in power, with the money and the power, the people that are allegedly elected in a democracy, come together to save the planet? What other device can be invented to go around them? You know, we're talking about humanity rising up as they are in China as one, and choosing the anointed ones to save the planet. Would that anointed one be a woman or a man? You know, would it be another Donald Trump? See, he's supposed to be the man, the good-looking rich man with all the beautiful women that walks in on Helen at the Beauty Miss Universe contest in Russia to catch these women naked, and that's the man that's going to save Earth? I don't think so. So, when I was camping with Rena, who told me she was 18, she was 17, we camped by this small pond, lake, maybe about 100 yards across, round, and it was the drinking water for Gurneyville. This was a reservoir up on top of our mountain we camped at. It had signs saying, "No swimming allowed." And one evening, when the sky was this marmalade rainbow, Rena emerged from our tent wearing a towel. And she started walking towards the water. And she throws a towel. I'm sitting there at the picnic bench, the wood bench, and she takes off the towel and throws it onto the table, walks it into the water. It was the most incredible, beautiful sight I'd ever seen. I mean, she had a beauty a body, I mean, that was just, it's indescribable. The perfection of it, the beauty of it, the form, the legs, the shoulders, everything was in such perfect proportion. There's nothing. You go down her back and her shoulders and her arms and her waist and her buttocks and her legs, and it was just continued perfection. And it just gave off this energy, this radiance. With the symmetry of it in her face, the symmetry, people that study DNA, how our brain works, when we see such symmetry in a human being, their face, where both sides are equal, and we see this, it just fires off all our synapses. They just go crazy. It's just light up. Apparently that's the name. In looking at the etymology of Helen's name, they try to describe this fire, this sun. And it's not a fire like Aries, it's this light that goes off, this torch. And she's in the water, and she says, "Are you coming in?" And I'm just like, See, this is it. See, I'm in a position very few men have ever been in. If I go in, I'm going to have the most memorable experience a human being can have of my lifetime and many lifetimes of many men. She wants to make love to me in the water. And I'm afraid. I know that she's going to go back to Nebraska in a couple weeks, and I'll be left with this memory of making love to Rena in the water, and it will drive me mad. It will drive me crazy, because I won't be able to duplicate it. I won't be able to find another beauty such as her. That's quite a consideration. I don't think too many artists, poets, writers, architects have ever, anybody, a truck driver, mailman, has ever been in a position like this. This is what every man wants. This is the highest achievement. To make love in the water with the most beautiful woman you're ever going to see in your life. And I tell her, I says, it's not allowed. And she thought about that. She pointed out the sign. She says, I've changed my mind. I don't want you in the water with me. This went on for weeks. We would go to the river. At Monte Rio Beach, where we had a couple hundred people there a day. They had the Bohemian Club meeting there, and some people from the Bohemian Club were on the beach, including some of the wealthiest men in the world. And we would arrive in my 1950 Dodge, and Rena would, we lay our towels down, and she would take off her cutoffs. There she is in her bikini, and she'd walk to the water. But she would always turn and say, I don't want you in the water with me. It's a big river, She would say, if I'm in the river, I don't want you in the river, She was mad. See, because she wanted to make sure I never forgot her. She knew what she was going to do to me. She knew we made love in the water. She'd own me. She'd own my soul, everything. She'd own everything. There wouldn't be anything left of me. She's 17 years old. And at the age of consent in Nebraska is 17 years of age. So I'm reading this thing about artists depicting, I'm looking at these paintings that people have done of Helen of Troy, and they just can't come to terms with it. Really how she ended, what happened to her, there's different versions. And that's what it's like. It's like in trying to do this painting, which I don't think I did justice. I'd like to even start over again. There's this incompleteness. This idea that you can never consummate any kind of relationship that you have with Helen. Did Paris rape her on the island of blah, blah, blah? Did he take her? See, this is all unresolved. These are all unresolved issues. And this is how it is with Rena. I've got this little bug in here. So here's what it says. From antiquity, depicting Helen would be a remarkable challenge. The story of Zeuxis deals with the exact question: how would an artist immortalize ideal beauty? He eventually selected the best features from 5 virgins. The ancient world starts to paint Helen's picture or inscribe her form in stone, clay, and bronze by the 7th century BC. Darius Figurius describes Helen in his history of the fall of Troy. She was beautiful, ingenious, and charming. Her legs were the best, her mouth the cutest. There was a beauty mark between her eyebrows. All right, I'm going to end there. I have a video I took of these 2 rays of light on the painting that I was going to put Rena on to duplicate the painting I did of her in 1971. And these 2 lights appeared, which reminded me of Baghdad Cafe. And it's about this German woman who gets abandoned by her husband out in the middle of nowhere, and she comes upon this family running this cafe, and she begins to clean everything. She becomes a super maid. And also I just go, wow, that's what I was trying to connect with Rena, where she talks about how she loves being this janitor, the royal janitor. There it is. And I couldn't make that connection. And this is what artists, poets, writers, movie makers, they love these connections. So I saw these 2 lights on my canvas, all of a sudden, bam! Okay, the whole missing thing, that Helen of Troy becomes a janitor. She doesn't go back with her king husband or go off with this other king or prince or any of that. She disappears and becomes a chore woman, probably in a great state in Athens or whatever. And of course, this is Cinderella. This is Sleeping Beauty. This is the stories that came out of Germany. And the Franks are supposed to have descended from the royalty of Troy that came into the Brabant, the Belgian, Holland, and this created the Moravians, Merovingian race. So it's this whole story with Dan Brown that he ripped off from us. Helen ends up in Holland, and Pharamond's wife was Rosamond. So the name of Helen is Rosamond, Rose of the World. And this is the rebirth. Helen is now the Rose of the World. And her job is to save the planet. It's been a really interesting week for me, and I'm going to make another video.